Homelessness is unacceptable in a rich city like Toronto. Oh, boy. No. Oh, no. UN official says. Oh, of course, it's a UN official. So Toronto is in the thick of a global housing crisis. Yeah. That's what happens when you bring in millions and millions of outsiders into a country that already has a pretty big population, okay? Well, I mean, I guess for square footage, for square miles, I guess it really doesn't have that big a population when we're talking about Canada. But, yeah, I mean, housing, it's kind of limited, right? The more people you bring in, the more demand you have for housing. Guess what happens to the price of housing? It's simple economics, right? The price goes up. Imagine that. There's more people without a requisite increase in the amount of housing means housing becomes more scarce. And guess what happens with scarcity? Whoa, prices go up. We don't want that. Prices should not go up. The government should control the ways and means of production, including housing. We will have price controls. The price of your housing will not go up. Of course, then nobody will build new housing then because there's no profit to be made. But hey, whatever. Bernie don't like profit, So yeah, it's Toronto is in the thick of a global housing crisis, and human rights and dignity must be put before dollars. Yeah, right. Just like the health of the world, the state of the world, and the health of human beings and our future has to be put ahead of our comfort, right? We need to embrace a certain level of austerity. Then I'll tell you what kind of level. And we need to sacrifice for the Green New Deal, says dummy Ocasio-Cortez, who might actually be dumber than Bernie. I know that's a tough bar to get over there. Yeah. Or sink below, I should say. But then again, I don't know. I mean, at least she had a job, right? You think she's smarter than Bernie? I don't know. Bernie, I mean, you could argue it takes a certain level of intelligence to be that much of a mooch for so long. I mean, this fucking guy, he got through his whole life without working a real job. So I would argue he's probably smarter than her. But anyway, that message was delivered by Leilani Farha. Oh, boy. That's the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the right to housing. Housing's not a right. Is there some cave out there with your name on it? People, when they lived in caves, they didn't have a right to housing. They'd kill each other to get some good shelter. What do you mean you have a right to housing? I don't understand how you have a right to something that somebody has to build, buy materials for, put labor into, sweat, slave, get fucking permits and licenses to build and invest a lot of time and money into. How exactly do you have a right to that? Well, if you're Bernie, listen to Bernie, you know what he thinks. So you have a right to housing. To the city's Planning and Housing Committee on Tuesday morning, Leilani Farha, the United Nations. Yeah. Okay, there's a lot of repetition here. All right, hold on a sec. Give me a break. I just cut and paste this shit. I don't read it too much beforehand. So worldwide is now accepted and understood. It is now accepted and understood that there's a global housing crisis. Where? Let people build more housing. No, we need rent control. Rent control! Rent control so that people don't have to pay too much. But Bernie, rent control discourages people from building new housing because if you have rent control and you say everybody has to charge X amount, even though a certain area might require Y amount to be profitable to build, then people just build less housing, and then the prices will go up even more because housing will become ever more scarce. I don't care. I need people to vote for me. Smart people are too smart to vote for me. The stupid people I'm pandering to. They don't understand any of that complex stuff anyway, and I don't either. Can you imagine this guy's the CFO of a fucking company? Chief Financial Officer? Oh, my God. That fucking place would tank in a week, wouldn't it? Oh, Lord have mercy. I want to be Chief Financial Officer of Disney. You should make me Chief Financial Officer. I will spread social justice throughout the world. Through the tentacles of Disney's power. Pulling all those strings. Okay, you put Bernie in charge of the financial aspects of Disney. They lose billions within the first month. Hey, Bernie, we think you're doing a shitty job. We think that you should resign or we'll have to fire you because we've lost billions of dollars. That's good. I'm glad we lost billions. That was what I wanted. That means we stole less money. This fucking guy. And of course, that's what social justice warriors do, right? They get into positions of high power, and then they use those positions to essentially enact social justice, which sort of kind of fucking sabotages the company and sends it into the fucking dumper, which is what's happening now with all these fucking franchises in Hollywood. Anyway, the visible homelessness on the streets is unacceptable in a rich country. The country's not rich, okay? People in this, I love this, so this is what they do. So, you know, this is a categorization error, and a very obvious one. So, people are rich. Countries are not rich. Countries don't exist without the individuals that live within that country, okay? Say you have 1 million billionaires in a country, all right? They're rich. The country's not rich. Country has no money. Government has no money. It steals it from you in the form of taxes, okay? The country's not. But of course you want to make it seem like the country's rich, and there's just this big fucking pie that everybody should be feeding at the trough of. Yeah, but you people are greedily hoarding that pie and not letting other people have their fair share of the pie, even though we don't know exactly what number equates to fair in terms of their share. Yeah, okay. The skyscrapers going up that are clearly not intended for the people who are in housing need and are clearly intended for investors. Need! I love it! You couldn't be any more clear that you're a fucking communist. From each according to their need. From each according to their ability, to each according to their need. Of course, the communists in Russia found out that didn't work. They had to change it. They found that from each according to their need didn't work when you coupled it with from each according to their ability. It didn't work when you coupled it with to each according to their need, because if you gave everybody what they needed, they wouldn't really work to their full potential and produce very much. So they quickly found that that motto didn't work so well. So they had to alter it. Bernie seems to have missed that lesson. And so did the UN. It's unacceptable. Rich people. It's unacceptable to have rich people if there are also poor people. How dare you create more wealth that benefits everybody? Okay, so the gobbling up of existing apartments by big finance, all of this speaks to me as a crisis. It's not a crisis. You're trying to make it seem like a crisis so that people will embrace your ideological view of the world. Farah's presentation was considered unofficial or outside her role, researching and reporting back to the Committee of the UN on Housing Practices around the world. But she still expressed shock at the conditions in Toronto and urged officials to apply a human rights lens to future planning. Future planning. Why don't you just substitute the word future for central? Central planning! Bernie's getting hard on right now. Imagining central planning being fully executed in fucking Toronto in regards to housing. Yeah, he just loves central planning. Yeah. Because you can plan something as complex as an economy. Oh, yeah, sure. It's never worked before, but we'll figure it out. That wasn't real socialism. That was not real socialism because it didn't work. If it was real socialism, it would work. How do you know, Bernie? You've never seen real socialism work. I just love making fun of Bernie. Fucking A, it's just unending material. All right, so, yeah. The UN thinks that, yeah, believe it or not, that you need to be controlling the ways and means of production in regards to housing in Toronto.